Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast, the show for IT professionals and managed service providers, where we help you run your business better, smarter, and faster. Well, folks, we always hear a lot about M&A, mergers and acquisitions happening, and one of the things that has been popping up recently on the radar is the idea of being able to redefine how managed service providers grow and evolve in today's market. We've talked about that before on the show, but we've got somebody that's coming back. Matt Yesbeck, co-founder of MSPX, a marketplace that promises to take the hassle, risk, and valuing managed services contracts out of the guesswork phase and make them happen better, smarter, and faster. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hello, Marv. How you doing?
I am good, sir. It is good to see you back.
Yes, it's good to be back. Thanks again for having me here and for letting me speak with your audience.
Well, I mean, listen, you guys have had a lot going on. You just finished the gauntlet of the Picket Summer.
We did.
Sorry you didn't make it into the final three, but it doesn't really matter because I think everyone that goes through Pitch It experiences a lot of what you are now. There's a lot of interest, a lot of ideas, a lot of things to help push you and make your product do what you were expecting it to do. And as a matter of fact, you are officially launched.
Yes, we are. We launched last Monday after months of development on the version 2.0 of the marketplace. So yes, it finally happened. And yeah, man, that was it was a red letter date for sure that we will never forget it.
All right. So just to recap, so first of all, I need to let people know that you were back on the show on episode 868. So we don't need to dive too much into what MSPX is. Obviously, the innovative online marketplace where MSPs can buy, sell, and value managed service contracts. I know we hinted at a lot of the things that were going to come out in 2.0 when the launch was.
Yes.
What's new?
Yeah, so what's new with version 2.0 is, better structure, better security, and really we can highlight some of those things in the form of we do an extensive MSP vetting on the way in. So we have a really thorough onboarding process. So, and during that process, you're answering questions that are going to be pertinent to every other MSP once you're in the marketplace. But again, it helps us to vet who you are, your authenticity, and hopefully your integrity, and you're building a trust score as you're answering those questions on that intake form, or I should say on that onboarding process. And so the hope is you'll be at 90% or better when you get into the marketplace and that trust score appears on your profile so that other MSPs who also went through that same onboarding can see how transparent you were with the answering of those questions, right? So that kind of helps just to establish a baseline before there's been any commerce back and forth.
And that helps everybody understand that the contract is what you say it is.
Yeah, it is put in place to give you some authenticity or some credibility of who you say you are, because we're asking for things like EIN and your Google business page and your LinkedIn profile and your Duns and Bradstreet. And not all of these things are required. Some of them are. For instance, your EIN, you have to put that in and that has to be verified. But there are certain fields you can leave blank. And again, as you're doing that, you're building that trust score. And again, it's all about transparency. We really want to have confidence and trust within the marketplace because we feel like that's going to be the thing that's going to engender a flourishing ecosystem. So once you get in and you're onboarded and you're in the marketplace, some of the other key things that are different from our original MVP is now not only is the marketplace much better built, but we have escrow-backed transactions. So when a transaction is initiated between a buyer and a seller, the buyer's money, the funds go into escrow, and that money is held in escrow until that customer has been successfully transitioned from the seller to the buyer. And to assist in that process, we have the all-new transition dashboard. And this was created specifically to keep the buying and selling MSP in lockstep, reaching milestones through shared tasking all the way to the bottom of that 30-day transition period, where then they will both have the opportunity to verify that this customer has been transitioned. Because what we know for a fact is that you can have all the contracts for sale that you want in the marketplace, and you can have all the MSPs to buy them up. But if we cannot have a successful transition, then we don't have anything. So a lot of time and effort and thought went into this transition dashboard, and we really feel like that's going to be the key to a successful marketplace. And it will certainly need to be tweaked, and things will be added and modified and adjusted as time goes on. But I feel like we've put our best foot forward where we are now for this transition dashboard to really assist in a successful transition.
So this makes the traditional handshake of an MSP going to another and saying, hey, do you want to take over my client? Taking it from the handshake phase into this legitimate phase that's kind of like a lot of the stuff you would do if you were thinking of buying another MSP. You're going to ask for all that information. You're going to want to verify all that information. And it sounds like this is great. Now, it was funny because I went back and I was trying to remember how I asked you about clients that are month to month, that we want to offload as an MSP. Right. Obviously, those are not going to have the same weight as a contract that has X number of months remaining on the deal there. But some of those month to months can be pretty big.
Sure. Yeah.
How is that handled in your platform?
Yeah, and so with that scenario, there are many variables within it, because you could have a contract, let's say, that renews, that just renewed, right, for a year, and you're putting it on the marketplace. But in your MSA, you have no termination fee or a very small termination fee. Well, that might as well be month to month, right? Because it's not like the buyer's going to get any additional security from having a newly renewed 1-year contract if there's no real protection in the clause in the MSA for protecting them from that early termination, right? So in that instance, just like you will with every one of your other customers, you just need to continue to provide stellar support and service. Because if that client has agreed in the transition process to go along for the ride and be transitioned, then the odds that they're going to turn right around the minute that you have them under your belt and then just leave makes absolutely no sense. So it's just going to be you providing that stellar service. Now, in that same scenario, let's say that contract has just renewed, and that MSA was written to where if that customer cancels, it's a 100% termination fee. So they have to actually pay out the remainder of the term. Well, yes, that's obviously going to have much more value to the buying MSP. And funny enough, the contract that is currently in our marketplace right now is just under that same scenario. So the current listing there, that customer's contract renews on Monday, and they have a 100% termination clause in that MSA. So whoever buys this contract that's in our marketplace right now is guaranteed that 12-month MRR or ARR collectively right out of the gate, right? So that's a very valuable thing. And our intake form, as you're processing in your contract that you're wanting to divest, all of these things are being taken into account to give a really good range and a valuation range of what you can expect to list that contract for.
All right. Now, I mentioned that, you were on the show, a few months ago, and, you did have some feedback then about how people were viewing the platform. Now that you've launched, it's been just over a week. And I'm sure you had a bunch of, build up before then. So what's the feedback been lately?
Yeah, we continue to get subscribers every day, which is an awesome thing, to say the least. And I just continued. The conversations that I'm having now are at such a much more of a higher level than they have been in the last few months. The agreements, the partnership agreements we've been able to make. We're now we had an agreement with ASCII made here recently from our advisor. Larry Walsh of Channelnomics, who has been advising MSPX now for the last 9 months. And he was able to have a conversation between myself, him, and Jerry of ASCII. And we were able to have an agreement there, which enabled us to message their entire organization. And then another message is going out here next week to do the same. And that's very promising that an organization like ASCII thinks that MSPX is novel enough, is worthy enough, has a value proposition that makes sense to be able to introduce us to that entire community. And as well, we just entered into a marketing agreement with Rob Scott and Monjour. Monjour is an excellent synergy because they write the MSA contracts. And these MSA contracts that have been written from a rock solid legal perspective, right, can now divest and acquire those contracts through our marketplace. So that is a huge value add for every Monjour subscriber, and it is certainly going to help MSPX to fill the marketplace with life, right? So that we can get this thriving ecosystem to occur, and not to mention all of the other great conversations that we've had with larger MSPs that are looking to solely divest. Not that they won't come back as a buyer, but their immediate need for the marketplace is to be able to offload bad fit clients. And those bad fit clients can, again, be because of low revenue or low profit margin or no margin. Maybe they're just in a vertical the MSP is trying to move away from as they niche down. It could be a geographic issue, or it could just be a cultural friction issue. And so there are many reasons why an MSP would want to divest, as well as those that are in lifestyle MSPs that are looking to exit entirely and have these 15, 20 clients that they would like to be able to offload to another MSP. And now MSPX gives them that platform so that they don't have to open their book of business and let local MSPs pick and choose, right? They can sell that as an entire book of business. So it's a huge value add.
Yeah. So fantastic coup there, you and Rob Scott there.
Yes.
Obviously somebody who can, have an objective look at contracts and agreements and stuff. Monjour certainly does that, and Rob has been great there.
Yes.
Just to recap a couple of things, because I think you were doing this before, but your business model, obviously there is a quote unquote listing fee for putting up your contracts. And then MSPs like me, if I want to go see what's available there, I can go onto the site and sign up for one of, is it 2 or 3 levels that are available to us?
Well, just to correct you on the front end, there is no fee to list. What we do is we take a subscription fee up front, and to answer that question is it's two plans. You can do the general access plan, which is $149 for the entire year, and that gives you general access to the marketplace. And then we have our premium first look plan, which is $599 for the year. And what that does is when a contract gets intake, it's brought into the marketplace and they go through that intake process and it gets listed. If you are part of that premium first look, I should say when it gets listed on the marketplace, it gets labeled premium first look. And then there's a 36-hour countdown timer on that contract. Now, if you are subscribed as that premium plan, you can click on that contract, view the details, and if it looks appealing to you, you can click the buy now button. If you have the general access plan, you can see the contract and its details, but you cannot interact with it until that 36-hour timer runs to 0. And then there will be a bid option button added to that contract. So now, as a general access plan viewer, you can start to then either choose to buy now or place a bid. So that's where you get a little bit of an advantage from that premium first look. But either way, we wanted to keep the barrier to entry very low. So that's why it was important for us that MSPs large and small, even the smallest guy can afford $149 a year. We're not even talking a monthly basis.
Right.
Then the way that we monetize that on the back end is that we take a 7% commission from the seller. So
Okay.
that's how we stay in business.
All right. For some reason, I was getting that all mixed up with eBay listing fees and commission.
Right. Yeah. That's okay.
eBay should do what you do, because their listing fees and their final transaction fees, and
it's very it's confusing.
All right. Yeah. Now, I should also mention on your website, one of the things that is new is this free contract valuation.
Yes, the valuation calculator. That's right.
Yep. So nice little button up there, put in the financial details, and get to it.
Yeah, there's about 12 questions in there, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow the algorithm, the formula that's on the back end, to run. So every question that you answer is going to help at the end to give you an accurate report. And that report is not only going to include your AI valuation of that contract, it's going to give you a range. It's also going to give you an AI generated risk score, so that you and every potential buyer knows what the risk could be for obtaining that customer, or a churn risk as we try to transition the customer. So it just kind of gives everybody clarity, right? And as you list that contract on the marketplace, that valuation range will be present on that contract, as well as that risk score. So we want to keep everything up and up on the level, transparent. Everybody knows. And then at that point, it's a full disclosure when you initiate a transaction and move into transition.
Yeah, I liked some of the information they asked for, the client vertical. You even asked the type of market that they're in, whether it's a high demand or,
that's right,
or medium, because we're down here in the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale. Kind of a mix, but very nice there.
Yeah. And it all feeds in to really try to give the most accurate we can for a risk score and from an evaluation perspective. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What else is new? I think there was a couple of other things you had to mention there.
The client compass, which is something that we will be adding to our landing page here probably next week. And essentially what the client compass is designed to do is it's MSPX's proprietary tool that is designed to give MSPs unprecedented visibility into the health and the profitability of their client portfolio. So it works by analyzing key financial and operational data, and then it intelligently categorizes clients into 3 clear paths, which are grow, remediate, or divest. And should you get to that divestiture moment, there's a clear off-ramp to MSPX. So not only is MSPX positioning itself to be the marketplace for the buying and selling of managed services contracts, we also want to assist MSPs themselves into understanding their current client portfolio in the most clear way that they can, to understand which ones are growing and flourishing, which ones you need to remediate and can be saved so that they can also flourish, and then which ones you just need to cut so that those other flourishing those clients can continue to grow. And so this is just strategic. This is just good business. Every MSP knows that they need to categorize their clients A, B, and C, and then what to do with them. So this is a tool that will enable that to happen.
All right. Very nice. And that will be out in the next couple of weeks?
Yes. Yeah. It's clientcompass.mspx.store. It's live now, but we're, I guess you would say, in a live fashion, continuing to tweak it. But if there's any interest in going there now and just kind of getting an idea, it is free. It costs nothing. It's just a value add for the marketplace. You don't even have to be a subscriber to the marketplace to go to clientcompass.mspx.store, create a free profile, ingest all of your clients, and let our AI components do their thing.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. If I remember correctly, we did talk about the fact that you're pretty much the first and only one doing that in our space right now.
Yes.
I'm assuming people are coming to you and asking you for things like, data insights and metrics and stuff like that. How are you responding to that now, and how is that going to gauge what you might be doing in the future?
It is certainly going to have a huge impact in what we do in the future. How we're answering that now is that we are so early in our launch that we don't have enough meaningful metrics to really do anything with at the moment. And that's why our partnership with Monjour is going to be such a boon in this area, because it's going to allow us to take on a huge number of MSPs and actually start to collect the data of who's buying, who's selling, what's the average length of time a contract stays on the marketplace, what's the average success rate of a transition. All these metrics are going to be, highly valuable, no doubt. And we've been told that directly by the large distributors that we talk to. We've had great conversations with Ingram's Trust X Alliance. We've had really good conversations with PAX 8. And it's the data that is of value to them, and I certainly understand that. And so we're hungry to be collecting all of this stuff, and so it's going to serve us very well.
All right, Matt, I like what I'm hearing. I like the idea of the escrow stuff.
Yeah,
I like the idea of the trust score. Works really nice. But my one question that some Yahoo is going to come up with at some point is, I put my contract up there and nobody's biting. What's wrong? So
right.
What do you do with stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess the fact of the matter is that a lot of times for us, things are more valuable to us than they are to other people, right? And so with that being said, I would say if you've got a contract that's listed and it's been there for a week or more, it might just be a good time to do some introspection and say, you know what, if I've listed the contract outside of the valuation range, that could be a problem. If I've listed it on the very high end of that range, that could be a problem. But I would also just say that there is nothing wrong with being a little patient as well, right? How long have you had that customer and you've been patient with that situation, right? So a week or two or three on the marketplace isn't going to kill you. You're going to continue to service that customer. You're going to continue to invoice that customer. And I would just say, let the marketplace do its thing, and don't necessarily list it with the expectation that it's going to get bought up in 2 or 3 days. Now it may, right? But as we continue to grow and our subscriber base grows, there's going to be more eyeballs on it. So I can say that there may come a time where they don't last very long, but whatever the case may be, I would just say give it some time, and then if nothing's happening, if you're not even getting any inter-platform messages asking more questions or anything like that, then you might want to consider just lowering that price.
Well, I was thinking of it in the reverse, that you put up a contract and it's low, and an MSP is looking at that and saying, "That's what you're charging for that size client? I can't make any money there." Do you have like community involvement to kind of help guide if somebody like me were to put up a contract and my endpoint price is just too low that nobody's going to look at it? Do you have some guidance there to kind of push back and say, look, you might want to rework that contract? Yeah,
I think it's a twofold thing. There's going to be safety in the fact that there is going to be and already is, and just the small subscriber base that we have now, such a wide range of MSPs, from the single trunk slammer guy that's driving around in his white Sprinter van that is servicing customers that is time poor, and it's hard for him to even try to think about selling other clients. Referrals are their dominant net source of new business. And so you give that, that type of MSP logs into the marketplace and sees a 3 or 5 or 7 seater. You may think that is low or no margin. And for your $5 million MSP, where your seat minimum is 20, you're probably losing money on that. That could have been one of your foundry customers that you brought on early on because money was green and you had bills to pay, and you were making profit on it then. But fast forward 3 to 5 years, and now you're losing money on it. Doesn't mean the customer's bad. It means you've outgrown that customer. But that doesn't mean there's not another MSP waiting in the wings that is a perfect fit. And that's the beauty of the the marketplace. You're not just talking about MSPs in your own backyard anymore. This is giving you access to MSPs all over our country, Canada, soon the ANZ region. We've got some partnerships that are in the works there. So this is really going to give you some exposure like you've never seen. And because of that, I think that it's going to address that particular issue that you're bringing up.
All right. Well, you've thought of it, and it's going to be taken care of. The market will speak for itself, right?
Exactly, and that's it. And I would say in parting that this is this marketplace. This isn't in terms of the buying and selling of managed services contracts. This isn't anything new. This has been happening in a fragmented fashion for decades within the MSP channel. It's just been it's been back channels, it's been forums, it's been peer groups, but there's just never really been any structure or security wrapped around it. So we're attempting to unify that so that we can bring this practice to surface, to light, with real confidence that this ecosystem can actually flourish. And so so with all that being said, I mean, that really is the goal, but it's community driven. We have to have MSP participation. If MSPs don't participate, we don't have a marketplace. Right. So yes, it is very much community, and we hope that that adoption will occur.
All right. You mentioned growing markets in space. I actually was going to ask you, and I pulled the question, but now I'm going to bring it back.
Sure.
What about other industries? Because right now we've only been talking about the MSPs, but there's a lot of things that we do that don't technically fall under managed services, whether, it's the cable structuring, it's doing some sort of residential work. I'm just thinking I've got clients down here where we partner with companies that are doing lighting and audio, video, and all of that stuff. Is there a chance that those types of contracts may trickle in?
So if I'm hearing you right, is this where, because there are scenarios where you'll have an MSP that lands, and it could be an enterprise MSP that lands an enterprise customer, and they are task ordering out and subbing out certain elements of that overall master contract. Right.
Yes.
So it will probably be in version 2. So we're probably looking at maybe first quarter of next year, where we will be adding the ability to sub out task orders, so that, yes, components of a contract can be awarded to our member base, where the actual contract is still being held by the enterprise MSP. And yes, so subsets of that contract can be subbed out. So that is on the horizon.
All right.
Yep.
Glad I asked.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know if you don't ask, right?
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, I like where your head's at too, and So there is certainly untapped potential for that type of thing to occur. I was just trying to, with the immediate release of MSPX, is just addressing the current need that really we encountered out of necessity that prompted us to build the marketplace. And so that's where we're going first. For all of those MSPs, large and small, that are in the trenches every day, that maybe a good percentage of them don't have a great sales engine. And I'm not a sales coach, but I can tell you that MSPX is going to be the go-to as a second avenue for revenue.
Listen, Matt, we've known each other a little while. I'm not trying to tell you to, get out of your lane. You know how big your lane is, and to stay
right.
in.
Yes.
I'm just asking the questions because they pop into my head, and I'm thinking if I'm thinking it, somebody else is. So
absolutely. And thank you for asking, because otherwise no one would know that that's already in the works. So no, thank you.
All right. Well, there you go, Matt. Thank you for joining and giving us that update. Congratulations on the launch, and we'll be looking forward to more stuff down the road.
Absolutely. Thank you. And again, welcome the opportunity to speak to your audience, and look forward to the next time we get to speak.
All righty. Well, folks, if you're listening and you're ready to take control of your contracts, whether it is, trying to grow, maybe you're trying to rebalance and offload some stuff, MSPX could be the place for your move, the resource that you're looking for. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of the IT Business Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, for more real talk with industry leaders and actionable advice for your MSP journey. That's going to do it. We'll see you soon. And until next time, holla.